Hi all, welcome to Sportive Mechanics on YouTube. Nicholas here. Today I present to you the new Peugeot 5008 in its hybrid version, 136 horsepower. We had already tried it in electric. We were among the first in the world on the channel to be able to try it. And for me it's mainly that because I still like the thermal, the hybridization, and the Peugeot, Citroën, Fiat, Lancia, all of that have developed this new engine, a 1 liter 136 horsepower. With a belt, so no more belt, a chain distribution, and they have extended it everywhere. That's a good thing, because we're gradually being forced to switch to electric, but I admit I'm still a fan of this. So I wanted to present this engine on many cars. The C3 Aircross, the new C3 to the 208, the old 3008 because it first arrived on the 3008 restyled. Remember, we tried it, we would have tried it then on the C5 Aircross, we tried it on the C4, the C4X, and there as well. In the end, that is known in all groups, including Volkswagen. For example, on the Audis, the Volkswagens, the Skodas, the Cupras, and it's every time, it's the same engines that are spread everywhere. It's for economies of scale, so I like that there are economies of scale. I've noticed that cars are becoming increasingly expensive and similar in appearance. I don't really know how it works. Is it the people who are making much more profits, or is it us who are just paying more, or does it really cost more? So there's a little bit of truth everywhere, I think. The new Peugeot 5008, introduced in 2009, is now in its third generation. It is available in 7 seats, and that's what's interesting about this car, it's that it's available in 7 seats. Few 7-seater vehicles are available on the market. In summary, this is an extended Peugeot 3008, making it a 7-seater with similar characteristics. We will test it under all conditions to see what it yields, as usual. This time, it is 4.79 meters long, which is 25 centimeters more than a 3008. 6 feet 2 inches wide, 6 feet 10 inches with mirrors, and a 5.54 feet high with roof bars. We're maintaining a consistent weight. This hybrid version will weigh around 1,123.1 pounds compared to the 440.92 pounds of the 100% electric version, so it exists as we had tried in electric. There will be 3 proposals. Either the 210 horsepower with a 73 kilowatt-hour battery, or the 230 horsepower with a 98 kilowatt-hour battery. Or the 320 horsepower, which is the slightly performance version with a 73 kilowatt-hour battery. They're announcing ranges of 500 to 435 miles according to them. We saw that, no, that wasn't it. And the electric versions, they're much more expensive as well. It started from 46,000 euros, a finish with the big battery in GT. It was about 51,500 euros. Now it starts from 40,490 euros. It's still much more interesting. Before making the difference, still, the 6,000 euros, I prefer to put 6,000 euros of recent, it's 6,000 euros of gasoline, it allows you to drive really quite a bit. But it will also exist in plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, the new engines from Peugeot, it's the engine, a 1.650 with 150 horsepower in thermal, and the rest in electric. And that gives us versions of 195 horsepower in plug-in hybrid. It's interesting for companies wanting to save a bit on taxes, since it still works to some extent. So I don't know exactly in 2025, but it was interesting. With a 17.1 kWh battery, they announced 48.469 miles of electric range. I haven't been able to test it yet, since I asked Peugeot for one, but they don't have them yet. I hope it will arrive soon so I can test it for you. Since I know some of you are interested, don't hesitate to let me know in the comments. Are you more into electric, hybrid, rechargeable, or full hybrid like that? Even if this one is not exactly a true full hybrid yet. As I mentioned in each video about this new engine, it's an enhanced micro-hybridization. Well, this little car made in Sochaux, made in France, I'm going to take you around, do the tour just by hand, go back a little bit on the design, but I'm not going to dwell on it, since I've already presented it at its release. Don't hesitate to go back and watch the other video, and you might also be interested. We talk more about design, and also about the 100% electric version. I'll present it in this version. We'll test the 7 seats as I have it in 7 seats today to see what it provides. So here, I'm taking you like this. I left the lights on because I love the light signatures, and here therefore is the new light signature from Peugeot. We can detect it with the lights which are 100% LED, allowing us to identify this light signature. Now, with 3 claws that start from there and go back into the optical block. And also here, there, we don't have the matrix lights. It seems to me that it exists with the matrix lights. I had the 3008 like this, with the new 5008 logo here, which we can see Unfortunately, a small piece has been broken, likely torn off during cleaning with a microfiber. It is now tilted.
A little bit like this.
The black strip, as we found at the back in the past, which we now find at the front, to also stretch this front face. Up there we can find the cameras, etc. For level 2 driving with the sensors down here, for the radars that will allow us to gauge the distance with the vehicle in front of us. I enjoy this small, hollowed out section that makes it slightly black and deeper, giving the impression of sinking in, which is quite appealing.
I admit that it brings a little something there, you see it like that, and it actually makes put on top a kind of very nice little cap.
We see the Peugeot logo here. The driving aids could have been placed there, but they chose to make it float slightly so we can access it. And we have the impression that there is a levitation on this grille that comes to stretch like that, up to the sides, where little by little we have a gradient of paint and it blends in. Here we also find more air curtains. Before we had small ones there. They stopped the crocs as they went much higher, and well, it removed that part there, which is a bit different. But why not? Me? I'm starting to get used to it. I admit that the high crocs like that, I'm still not a big fan. It positions too much on the top, but, well, there are designers who are paid for that. They said it was cool. Tell me what you think. I preferred the thin crocs on the bottom. Then we find here, in this GT finish, this pack with the grey parts. So here, this brings a bit of a side, a bit more sporty to the car. On the side, there was a little thing that also intrigued me. It was this. It's to guide the airflow a little better around the wheels, so it doesn't come directly inside. The wheel arches on this vehicle are made of plastic, which is a small detail you will notice. So, sorry, it's a little dirty today because I went for a ride with it, and we're lucky. Look, we almost have a beautiful sunset. I will try to get you some pictures before it gets dark. So, on the side, the plastic wheel arches, in grey on grey, like that. It's pretty good. It's discreet. I enjoy colorful cars, but for a family car, why not consider the Peugeot, recognized by this badge? I give you a little light effect, sun forest. Wow, how pretty it is. And the rims lower down with these new patterns from Peugeot with these zigzag sides, etc. The diamond side, so that's the same. It's rather a good thing. We have Michelin tires, that's why it holds well on the road. You'll see later. So these are iPrimacy adapted a little bit for electric vehicles.
On the side, something quite simple.
As you can see, it's long, over 9.84 inches longer than a 3008, for instance. On this side, we find the gasoline hatch here. So it's huge, because in fact, they kept the same one as the electric versions. And the electric ones, there's a little extra thing here. So here, I have it in gasoline version. No more diesels, by the way. Not a single diesel. On 3008 and 5008, it's stunningly beautiful. Especially in the evening, with the sun and the clouds. I absolutely love it. We find this part here that we knew. Also, on 5008 there, this kind of boomerang that comes to the end. The roof bars. Here, we also have a panoramic glass roof. So it's not maxi panoramic, but it opens on this small part. Before, I would have liked it to go a bit further. The black bars like that, on this finish, were very nice. And it creates a sort of two-tone with the black roof plus black bars. It's rather nice, just like the mirrors, which are repainted in black on top, and it brings a rather nice look. It's true that it has modernized over time. The first 5008, it was all round, all that. It wasn't as sexy as this version. In terms of the rear lights, it looks like this, so we have the same. 3 claws this time, doubled each time. Here, we see them here, the Peugeot band with the 5008, which is also noted here, so like at the front, and on this side there. And I'm giving you a little 3/4 rear view, which you know I like. The 3/4 rear view, I like it. Since it's a sport utility vehicle, the fact that it's really sport utility vehicle-ized and not a coupe sport utility vehicle, especially on a Familia Cellplast, it would really have no interest. Here, we can see that the Peugeot is almost vertical to the window, with a slight incline. But then this part, very straight, to allow to have a bit of trunk space at the back. We see that it's worked on there, all these places and fridge type handles on the sides. We'll come back to it. Then on the back, the 5008 there, the hybrid that is noted on this side, the plastic parts on the bottom, the antenna, the shock type antenna up there. But the windshield wiper, here, it's great. We can see that we have the tinted screws. And there, with this sunset, it looks really good. Alright, I'm opening here, so we have an electric opening. We find a trunk part here. Don't move, I'm going to you. The stats are on my tripod. I have some info like that over there. At the same time, I'm going to show you what it looks like when I get into the trunk, and it will be more convenient. I like to show you a little bit of the backstage and all, so it will be like this. So the trunk has 316 liters in the 3-seater version, 348 liters in the 7-seater version, and 916 liters, so like this in the 5-seater version. So 348 and 516. We have a small trunk bin of 90 liters, so here, this is what they say, 90 liters. Underneath, we can see this part. We can also remove it, if we wish, to have more access and more storage. Then, I will be able to raise the seats, so it seems to me that we have to remove the rear deck. So it still goes like this. So I unfold one here to give you an idea of the trunk volume. And when everything is folded down, it will still really make a lot of volume. And we can therefore tilt the backs of the seats that are there. That too, it really makes a difference. When we can get to the back, we have a small letter on this side there. We have bins on these sides, the belts that are attached to these small supports right here. In short, something quite simple, and don't move because I know you like it when I go and fit in the trunks. So here, when it's in this place, it looks like this. So there's really very, very little space. We couldn't close it because look here, I'm outside of the seal part, I would need to be hidden inside. However, when it's folded up, I can get in really easily. We could even fit 3 people in here without too much trouble. Afterwards, if there was only one seat in the back, you could almost get a child in through the trunk. I know I used to find that fun when I was little. I could go in there, go lodge over there. Well, however, here, I really don't have any room for my legs. All this I'm showing you. No, but it's good, this. Like this. Every time I do a little bit of sport, hop, some stretches and others, that I might be a little bit better on. However, I need to remove this part if I want to sit down there. Does it fit in there, normally? Yes, it was meant for that, Ben. No, why doesn't it fit in there? Who did this? It goes technically first to the right, then we slide to the left, very important, then at the level of the rear seats. I open my door, we have a very large door. First thing I see here on this GTC finish, my little curtain here, which is practical for the summer, and the part it lights up in the door. When we find at the front some fabric, a bit of hard plastic, imitation leather, a little bit on the door, we have a finish that is still quite nice, says plastic. Then, standard on the bottom, hop, hop. Does it open all the way down when I open the window? Unfortunately, it doesn't open all the way down. That's a shame, to put your elbow on the door when the weather is nice. What I like is that we have a part here. Really seat and seat, so this part is fixed. So in any case, on the seat to the bench. So in 2/3, 1/3. However, the backrest, it is independent. Here in the middle, so that really makes a 40-20-40. That's a good thing. This provides more space and folds down like this, leaning here. How many parts? 1, 2, 3, 4. Basically, on 5 positions, 2 baby seats, ISOFIX and top taser attachment here. And that... Unfortunately, we won't have baby seats in the back or front, only 2 in total. In this version, this place, I know there are versions. I presented you the unique new one. There, exclusively on the channel, there were 4 baby seats. You can put that, it was really not bad. So the unique new one is much bigger, and I believe it's much, much more expensive too. However, as we are on a nice finish, even here, these are well padded seats, others with a nice design. It's pretty, it's nice. When I enter, if my height is 1.80 m, I hop and close the door. Yesterday, I raised my headrest, and even being 1.80 m tall, I have space at the knees, at the head level, so I really have to stand very straight, like a pike, to be able to reach up there and come knock here. But if I get a little more relaxed, honestly, I'm really not badly installed. I have room for my feet under the seats and room at the knees. It's really generous.
And normally, if I'm not mistaken, there you go, it's this bench that slides about 15 centimeters.
And even look at this seat. It is adjusted for me initially, even when moved forward to the maximum. Well, I still have some room for my knees and it's not uncomfortable like this. However, the advancements will be needed. if you want to leave a little bit of room in the back, because otherwise in the back they are really not going to have room to fall down.
We come to pull here, we can do it this way like this.
And advanced, which normally allows to give a little bit of room to people in the back. And I'm going to enter from this side here. So don't move. Either first choice, I tilt the bench just like this. But there, it puts it flat here. It's not necessarily ideal. This part too. And like this, or either. I lift, I come back to put it well on the side. And I pull this handle that just lifted everything and makes me slide the rails directly. So there you go. However, it's more convenient to set up here. I lift this part. Of course, I removed the rear deck that was there, which is now stored in the trunk. I lift my headrest here, so it needs to be lifted high. Then when I fold this down here, like Frozen moved a little bit on the rails, it allows me to have a little bit of space. Nicholas 1.80 meters, honestly, it holds. I have room for my feet, and since we were able to move forward, it's pretty correct. So here, I'm pretty good. I have a small armrest, and if we have an armrest on the other side, sort of small cup holder, we have a 12-volt socket at the top. Here, no USB port, it's all at the back. We have small LEDs, so it's still quite dark in this cabin. When it starts to get dark, it's going to get dark soon. The sunset there, as you've seen, frankly then, less than 1.80 meters. I'm tall. It's rare that we carry this person of 1.80 meters. It's quite rare. Sometimes it's for troubleshooting, which will do the job. I can spend a little half hour here if they really need to take me to a meeting a few minutes from where we are. Otherwise for children. Honestly, by moving this part a little bit forward, there is still a bit of room for that part there. It won't be bad. Or if no one, even by saying, for example, I fold here like this, it leaves me like this. Better visibility on the front. More space for this knee is there. With 6 seats, it's a good setup. We can still fit a bag and more. Here, it's rather not bad. We can go out the same. I raised there. We will have to think about raising. Follow there, otherwise it doesn't work. Hop, hop, there, I can go out. I didn't show you this middle seat here. I didn't tell you everything there. So there. I was advanced like this to have space in the back, so what I can do is move back. Here we can see that there is quite a bit of clearance to get to the middle seat here. It's great that it's a real seat, and I can recline the backrest. We're assuming no one is sitting behind, otherwise they couldn't put their feet up. I'm 6 feet tall here. Always I have knee space, head space here. I have the panoramic roof here for the feet. My 44 doesn't just fit here behind because we're a little ball here. A very small central tunnel. I have air conditioning with heated seats on the sides in a Peugeot. That's pretty cool. And tri-zone air conditioning. So 1 zone for the entire rear part and 2 zones for the front parts. We just have small nets here. This isn't plastic, but a nice finish that matches the seat. It's pleasant to the touch and not hard. Honestly not bad, plus this little fabric that comes back in the doors. I like it, we're pretty good here. Well, come on, come with me, I'll show you the front. However, a little thing, it was great until there. The third belt is located in the ceiling. I'm not a big fan, I would have preferred it to be directly on this seat. That would have been a real plus, however. Well, this time I'm not taking you around the car because we've already done the tour. I'm just picking up my keys here because every time I walk away. Otherwise, look, hop, distancing. I know I left the contact common with the lights. So it doesn't turn off, but normally it closes automatically. As soon as I take a little distance, I'm going to turn off the lights like that. So now I'm getting in this car. I'm going to start it like this. You will be able to see a little better with the lighting that is normally on the side, the circulated seat, because it's an electric seat, and when I open the door it goes like this. There with the absence of the vehicle. It's because I let it start during the whole presentation. The side, the doors, like at the back, except that here it's foamed on the upper parts. We have this beautiful finish on this GT finish, this part in laser engraved metal, you will see as soon as we turn on the ambient lighting. Plastic part, that we know. Window control, lock for the rear windows, mirror control, and lock here for the vehicle. Then it went to the corridor, very comfortable. I drove a few hours with it. It's already very nice. Then the lower part's in basic plastic. And inside there's a small carpet, and that's really nice. We can put a large bottle, a 1.5 liters also here, Peugeot door sill, the metallic pedal set like this. 2 pedals because automatic gearbox, seat with massages, all optional. The seat really comfort. The comfort. When I press this button, it shows the seat settings with the massages.
Memory on 2 positions.
We even have this part here that raises more, this part here that moves forward here, like on much more premium cars. And that, thank you Peugeot for doing this on a family car that is made for the road. As you can see, the car features well-designed bulges, including on the shoulders, providing excellent support. And especially look at the comfort of this thing. It's top of the top, the headrest with the Peugeot logos here inside the glass roof, like this. And honestly, it's pleasant when you get into this Peugeot, and especially when you get here. And that you're going to see that I started. Because we have the lights, so there, which move a little bit since we have the automatic adjustment. And above all, this ambient lighting there that lights up and really makes the difference. Just like this big 32-inch screen, that's a pleasure. Look, it's in one piece that we're starting to know. If you follow the videos, I've already presented it to you several times. So, a meter part on this side, an infotainment part on this side, so which is launching. The small eye toggles on this side, that's the same, it's a screen. So we have a screen here, a big screen here. This part is not touch sensitive, this part is on this side.
For all the entertainment info here, you can see.
And it's pretty fast, it's very efficient. We have Android Auto and wireless CarPlay. I connect with a wire because I prefer it each time. I'm going to step back to give you a good view. And look, we find this new little Peugeot steering wheel here. With the controls, so of course everything is illuminated. The advantage here, I'm doing it almost at nightfall. The controls here also light up here. So to open the trunk, you press twice, it opens the trunk or the alarm. And where to put these tokens? Here we have the air conditioning here. Then we find in the center with 2 vents. We can see that everything is turned towards me. In this car, you're the boss, you bought your car, it's yours, and the car thanks you. It tells you, look, all this, it's for you, Nico. Unfortunately, as a passenger, you must enter the driver's personal space to view this screen. Because this is really my neighborhood, mine, and look.
In fact, when he comes to put his hands here for the home button, he's really in my field of vision.
For him, I have the right arm, while the other person has a long way to go, putting them at a disadvantage. However, we can make adjustments using the toggles here to compensate. So this curved screen, it seems to me that I've already made a video about screens for you. I will make another complete video for you with all the customization of this if I haven't already done so. And how to connect the phones, etc. Since you enjoy it, hundreds of thousands of you are already watching my multimedia videos.
The floating screen allows you to pass your hands underneath it.
And I admit that the design of this, kudos to the designer because it's really very cool. The mirrors are a shame without convex corners. We have a correct view, but convex corners would have been preferred. We still have. Peugeot considers the blind spot warning as a head-up display, so we don't have a separate head-up display. So, it's true that it's positioned quite high. We don't take our eyes off the road too much, since it's well positioned. The steering wheel looks like this on the left. We have the driving aids. To set the cruise control, I press assist once, it sets the cruise control. If I press a second time, it sets the drive assist, which will drive on its own. Pressing one last time deactivates it for me. Or else, I have the limiter on this side. This is to reset, okay, for reading the signs, the speed faster, slower. This is the distance from the vehicle ahead when adaptive cruise control is set on this side. The volume, change the radio tracks, voice command and answer, or hang up the phone. Behind, we find the fire controls, the lights, here, the sound of the turn signal. The windshield wipers are on this side and the paddles are behind. With a 6-speed gearbox and new 1-liter 136 horsepower engines. On this side, we find the start and stop button, the gearbox, which is positioned here. So, I still have a little trouble getting used to it, even though it's been a few weeks since I've been driving the 3008 plus the 5008.
I find it a little poorly positioned. I would have preferred it here, there. In fact, I find it far and not practical.
And the delay when we pass? To go back to drive, for example, I would have liked it to be faster as well, but that's just me. I need it to be very, very fast and intuitive, but drive. I pull towards me. Reverse, I push upwards, it activates me. The cameras here, we still don't have a real 360 camera. We still have the cameras that record little by little. and the parking button on top. This way, a shortcut button to home. So you have to leave it yourself. Then you can go to the media here. These are the shortcut keys at the bottom that will put you in the media or the air conditioning or something else. And this, it's the same. It's a widget. You can customize them. For example, the left heated seat. So this is for me on 3 positions. I have my shortcut here. I can put, I think, even the massage shortcuts and others. It's quite practical. We have an induction charger here, so it's well hidden underneath. So here, you really have to see it. We have shortcut controls for air conditioning, defogging, turning off the AC, or setting the drive mode to max. Here, which will allow me to select if I want to be in normal, in sport, so it changes me. The colors of the cabin as well. You can see it there in blue or in echo. That just came a little bit green. No, the echo this time, it's blue, blue, blue. Me, that's the blue I prefer. Normally we can customize that too. The warning button, which is located here, the volume of the radio, with a mute button. Here, a lacquered part, the handbrake exhaust, the part here that we like at Peugeot. With the small storage that slides here and there is always quite a bit of depth in this central storage bin cup holder here, and yet another large storage. On this side we will find the cables for Android Auto or wired CarPlay. It also works wirelessly, and the charging, so 2 USB type ports. This large storage bin is pretty good. Speaking of storage, we also have the glove box right here. Seeing a 4-leaf, well, this way. I love to watch, well, watch every time. It invented it more to the back, lit up in blue like that, and now I can also show you the view to the back. We can especially see that the seats are far back. Here, the night lighting also around the glass roof. Without already finding on the old 3008, even those from before, it's already 2 generations. That's rather nice, and we can close electrically. So here, if I press hard this curtain here, then I admit that I prefer when it's open. When closed, the advantage is that it makes less noise in the cabin, because the green resonates slightly more than the rest. The fabrics allow for better soundproofing. But on the other hand, I immediately feel it's sadder, so maximum brightness for me all the time. In summer, closing it can reduce sun exposure or help kids in the back sleep.
With the blinds closed on the sides, but me, I prefer to leave it open. And the seat, so, as I showed you.
Honestly, this 5008 is not bad. At the time, we thought the Peugeot 5008 had nothing to envy from other brands, even premium ones. We have a big screen, we have ambient lighting, we have nice finishes, we have massaging seats to heated seats, we have an opening panoramic roof. Not much is missing there, maybe just a slightly nicer engine is missing. We'll see how it goes on the road. Let's go, we hit the road, let's go, come on, let's go. With this 5008, this new hybrid version is blinking. We're used to it here. As soon as I let go, I go electric. So we have this hybrid version, so it's the simple hybrid, exists, as I told you, in plug-in hybrid. They are not yet available at Peugeot for the moment, so that I can give you a test. So 136 horsepower with the engine, 1 liter of HN, plus this hybridization which brings almost 30 horsepower. This allows, at low speed like this, to be able to drive electrically. We have a small buffer battery, which means that, in fact, in traffic jams or at low speed, or to move around a parking lot and others, well, we will be able to drive precisely in this way electrically, and that's pretty good. This allows for quite a bit of gasoline savings, since it's moving the vehicle at low speed that consumes the most gasoline. Once rolling, it's fine, but at high speeds with small engines, it may consume slightly more. Now we're set for a minimum of 98 kilometers, and then I continue this debris. I'm going to keep the car for a few days as well. I just returned the Peugeot 3008 with the same engine. Monday, 236 horsepower average over 360 kilometers. I think I did 6 liters 6.1 in town. I was around 8 liters when I was only doing city, exclusively city, and an average of 6 liters 1. Having done some 81 and all of 110, it seemed relatively correct to me. The 5008, what is it? It's a 3008, but bigger, more space.
We can put this person there, so inevitably it will consume a little more if we put this person there.
So, I don't think I'll find this person during this trial, but it will already give you an idea. Of course, from the start, I reset everything to 0. That, it's like I exceeded 30 kilometers per hour. So reading the signs, that, I remove it. Alert, excessive speed, I deactivate it. Because that, it's clearly very annoying. The engine just started there. Hop here, the last two others.
It remains a car that is very comfortable. We are on the high-end finish with seats that are comfortable at the same time as a good padded support.
Honestly, it's very pleasant when you're at the wheel. I switched back to electric, the engine like the plane. It has resumed a small thermal phase, and when we slightly accelerate, it switches back to thermal mode. The transition, extremely not perceptible. I can accelerate a little bit and then... So we hear the engine slightly at low speed. We hear it a little bit when it restarts.
It's not necessarily
unpleasant. It's still pretty well soundproofed in any case at the engine level. We'll see that later during the accelerations and others. We hear a little bit because the 3 cylinders, that often this characteristic noise of it knocks a little bit. I've always preferred the case of the same on a motorcycle one. It's the 2 cylinders. I'm not a fan. More cylinders provide greater engine smoothness and higher revolutions. That's what I like about 4-cylinder or 6-cylinder or 8 or 10 or 12-cylinder engines. The more there are, the better. It's because, in fact, it makes it so that the camshaft turns perfectly all the time. There are no jerks and it's always much more progressive.
afterwards. It's not bothersome. I'm not saying that we feel other jerks, but in fact, it vibrates differently. It's a little bit different.
For instance, when I switched back to electric and released the pedal during each deceleration phase, it recharged, nearly reaching the battery's maximum recharge power upon release. And it creates a sort of mode B, which is always on. We can't deactivate it. Unfortunately, I don't have a mode B. For example, if I pull here, it stays in D without showing mode B. What I'm going to press is the M mode, which will switch to manual, so I can play with my paddles behind the steering wheel, which in truth has very little interest unless you switch to sport mode and want to have a little fun. But in truth, a 5008 like this is better.
We will try later anyway to see, because you know that I test the vehicles in all conditions, as usual.
We're leaving the city to do speeds of 110, 130 and more. It will be quite varied. So, as usual, I like to test you in all conditions. When we really drive calmly, at low speed like this, it's quite pleasant and the engine cuts off each time. Like a real full hybrid, so basically it's a kind of mild hybrid vehicle, but really more full hybrid type. But it doesn't have as much power and as big a battery as a real full hybrid. But the consumption normally should be much better than what was done before, and also the advantage that we don't drag along. A big PH5 battery, so the rechargeable hybrids, which are also great in use.
If you recharge every night and depending on the distance you have to travel daily, full electric can be a very good thing.
Afterwards, it costs more, it's heavier, so for me this remains the best compromise. In any case, full hybrid is the easiest. There's no need to recharge. We're going to put in gas. Even if it consumes a bit more, it's not necessarily a big deal for me.
It still costs less, so in my opinion, before paying back the savings,
the difference we're going to make between a full hybrid or like that mild hybrid vehicle plus and a rechargeable hybrid,
it will still take a lot of time.
So for me, in almost all situations, I would go towards this kind of car. Even if we are pushing more and more,
the brands.
Push the electric as much as impossible. That's why a bit played. Also to release 3 minutes in elec and the 5008 in elec.
We had already tried, but I confess that I prefer it this way.
I'm more serene in there, especially for a family car. I don't want to constrain the whole family. For example, if we are 7 having to make this person wait while we recharge, it's not necessarily ideal. Again, I'm all alone. I tell myself, well, it's not very serious. I'll manage. I'm a little tore after. If we try, we can take a big break for this person. The time it takes for everyone to disembark, use the restroom and grab a quick bite to eat. It's true that the recharge time's about 30 minutes for 10 to 80%. It goes by. But there you go. I tell myself that I prefer this anyway. Necessary to come. What do you think about it? For me, the full hybrid is the best for daily use. If you have the means, you have the house to recharge, or a charging station available at your home to recharge every night.
The PHV, clearly it's top of the top. Why is it ringing?
I thought I had disabled its excessive speed alert, but I disabled them. Why are you ringing? So, that's what I want. Oh no, there, it's every time that it changes reading signs, that's good. So, there, it was 50, 70, 70, 50. She had ironed at 70. At his, I hope, she read. So that's it.
I'm going to have to activate them very quickly because in France there are too many signs.
The fluctuating temperatures ranging from 30 to 50 degrees are extremely unpleasant. As a thing so that I'm gonna go look for the home menu now. I need to go into the menu like that. Settings, customization, vehicle, it's already green. I'm going to have to stop. Because right now, in the shortcuts, here driving assistance, I don't have them. Function sitting in, I have to go into alert function, speed modification. There, it's good we deactivate it, and I'm going to put it in the favorites like that. It will appear in the favorites too. Road sign recognition. Yes, if you want alert to the driver's attention. Do you seem to deactivate also? There. It rolls a little bit more, it relaunches on a climb, it drops the reports, it's quite fluid. I easily get to 70. We have a little more torque than the old one, 1 liter to that there. This time we have an addition of the electric, and above all it leads to torque. It also avoids dropping the gears too quickly. Before we had boxes that the T8, now it has moved to double clutch gearboxes. 6 gears, since we no longer need to have as many levels, since precisely the torque of ethics helps to restart more easily. And that means the car needs to drop gears less often. Since precisely the electric will help, and therefore it will also affect consumption. And in reality, if speed, we already have plenty to do. Go there, we are on a road at 110. You make an insertion choice, 70 feet floors. It takes a little bit of time to drop the reports, the engine doesn't get carried away directly, and I get to 110, so it goes up quite well in terms of speed, the engine doesn't get carried away, it remains rather discreet. When we are really foot in, that is quite impressive. And precisely, as I was just explaining a few seconds ago, it's the fact of having electric that...
No need to go all the way up to have power, since the torque combines with the power.
And that, precisely that, no need to get too carried away, it's rather pleasant. Well, right now, I just left the city, I have an average of 8.4 average in town, so it was over 5 kilometers, it's not necessarily the best. Since I was leaving from the bottom of Poissy and going up, there was some climbing involved. Now, I'm going from Poissy to Fontainebleau, which is 100 kilometers. As I was telling you, I'll give you a little debrief when I get there and there. Here, it's 110, a big part, 110. It's almost 110 all the way now, with a bit of 90 and 130. At the end, I'll give you a debrief under these conditions. Then I reset, and we act as if we were on small country roads at 80, 90. The most crucial step is pressing the small button, which switches between massage mode and cat paw mode.
Activate it forcefully. 3. I'm now set for 90 minutes.
While being driven with my driving aids, it took me to level 2 and my little back massage. So, when we went up, for example, 50, to go back to 70, it becomes a little more present in the cabin. This engine, we hear it a bit more, and always this characteristic noise, a 3-cylinder. But, for example, if I need, it still accelerates, it goes to 90, here, I do 80, 90, it goes rather well, it's quite easy, but let's not forget, here, I am alone in the car is not loaded. Completely, so inevitably it will force a little more, but for the moment average consumption level at 6 liters, which is rather not bad. So I didn't have to drive at 110, I was at about 100.
All along I had a small pot, 70 and 50 there to get here.
Yeah, it's okay, it's still relatively correct there for the moment, and there we have a big part of 90 here. For at least 10 kilometers. So now, it's been a little kilometer that I leave you in 10. Initially, a lot of 90 is an average of 5.3 over 42 miles, which is quite good. I'm heading to American Car City. I should go back there because you are, and it's very nice with them. But I know they wanted me to try some Challengers and other L4S. Feel free to let me know if you're into large American vehicles. I liked my plan, so now it's time to work on the details. As usual, I'm setting it to 90. So, 5.3 over 69 kilometers, that's really not ridiculous. Come on, 90. Let's not forget, we no longer have tachometers on cars now. That's a bit of a shame. There, I was on the phone. Android Auto works very well, with top-notch sound quality, unlike some cars with horrible audio. So, 90. I can slightly hear what's happening over there, despite having laminated windows. No, it's still okay. Honestly, it's not ridiculous. We have slight rolling noises, but it's still very decent. The massage has reset itself. It stopped. It just reset itself. It took a break and it just reset. All right, let's do 110.
What bothers me is that I no longer have the outlines, so it no longer gives me any indication of speed.
I know I'm in safe, but that's all. It picks up enough. I'm not going to double that. I'm going to speed up.
110. We hear a little more engine noise. It's ugly, so there. 110.
In a stabilized regime at 110, there is usually no wind noise, only a bit of rolling noise. The trucks really make it bad. We hear a little bit. I almost even have the impression that I hear more because of the roof. Here it would be more soundproof if I closed it. But since I put the cameras there and 130 here, we move everything to the right. 123, 126, 130. And as soon as it stabilizes, then at 130 there. This time, I can't hear the engine anymore. However, what really amazes me. So there's no wind today, but it's clear that I'm at 130. I feel like I'm in an ultra aerodynamic car being tested by the wind, which is crazy. I feel like this 5008 makes less noise than the 3008. I'm quite surprised at 80.78 miles age. I hear the engine a little bit. It comes from the front, very light. I put on a little bit of music. I forget all about it. The bearings are coming up a bit. However, I hear a little bit more of what's happening around than a premium car, but it's really not bad. It's quite nice. It makes you want to hit the road. With my little massage that has resumed, I'm pretty good. 3.34 miles completed. Quite fascinating. So, hop, we get out of there. We're going to take some small country roads, the usual little loop where it's very degraded, to also test the comfort a bit. Since earlier I've been in normal mode, we can also switch to eco mode if desired. So I admit that normal mode does the job well. Eco mode does limit somewhat. Really not bad. The power of the vehicle, it allows for some small savings in terms of consumption, especially in the city. Because precisely, in fact, it will restart less quickly. The car will take more time to get going then on these small roads. Very degraded.
Here, I feel that the seats are really, that we forge a very, very good lateral support.
So that's quite impressive, by the way, for this kind of car. But it's really very pleasant. I aim to keep the room clean, not just yesterday, but consistently. I try to imagine being in that space. Of Mr. with his 10 hours of fans. Oh, there, the swell, the weather. There is a kind of black clouds with a full sun. It's very pretty, but I'm afraid of getting a big downpour over there. Look at what it looks like. We go, we don't go. Well, come on, let's go. As I am in eco mode, so I have you to restart its recovery, much more calmly than a normal mode. A little bit of rhythm, even if I press hard. On the other hand, it switches to a sport mode. In any case, at kickdown we have full power. So now, we are at 85-90. Basically on these small country roads, I purposely go where it's really degraded. Other years are rather good. The sound system remains top. It's very pleasant. We still keep the dynamism. We look at the reactivity anyway. At the wheel, there's the usual big hole. It absorbs very well. I think it filters out the flaws. It's comfortable. It's pleasant. I tried not to go too fast everywhere because there are still some puddles here. Not to dirty the whole car, but no, it's a good car. It's like the 3008, but bigger up to its seats. I even find it a little bit better than the ones I had in the video of the 3836 horses. And then the little massage. It's true that it changes quite a lot of things. Alright, let's meet on my usual route. We stop in sport mode this time, and we're going to do the 0 to 100. Let's go, come on, we're putting it on. 1022, 2837, 4550, 6267, 718300. That's still frankly correct, and the blood at 0. As usual, it stops rather well. The car dives a little bit, but frankly, I feel safe because I love with this car. It's still quite directive, this little steering wheel. It brings this sensation side a little bit map the car, so when I do, it leans a little. What's great is that the bulges there are well inflated. They hold me super well. You can feel that at the beginning it's a little soft, but when I make long turns like that, it leans. But we'll get by. And the advantage of this one, compared to the electric version, is that it's much, much lighter. Most importantly, it showed me a 484 miles range, which makes a big difference. So I arrive on my little winding road. Preferred, so it's a little bit greasy. Today we're going to do it in normal mode, like this, test a little bit what it gives. It's very good. The steering is precise. The suspension remains supple as it should. The little anomalies where it vibrates. I hear it a little bit, but for me it remains super comfortable. The steering, we still have a certain consistency, even in normal mode, which is quite pleasant. Which makes me able to feel the car at minimum. The engine, it remains quite discreet. Still, I feel that it's bigger than the 3008 this time. I feel that it's longer. But honestly, it goes very well, even for where it's still very winding. I'm comfortable in the seats. The car doesn't sink too much. It's rather pleasant. A perfectly suitable pace. It's going well, so be careful as it's very wet, but it holds up rather well. Because that was still a 90-degree glaze. It's honestly a good car. We're going to test it dynamically. The stuff to note, it's that downhill every time I let go, so I have this leg braking and I don't have. If you can hear it a little, as if we could hear the Christ and Re going back into the battery. With this little electric motor, where it makes a little bit like electric machine noises, when it slows down, we hear it very slightly, but it also lets us know that we are recharging electrically. In addition to having the numbers in blue, we stay on the sporty mechanical channel, so sport mode. It changes the chance that at the pedal there is a totally different response. And we're going to switch to manual so I can play with my little paddles here and see what it gives. Its engine is not bad. I even felt that I had a bit of traction loss. It accelerates well and holds the road well, even in the wet. I'm quite impressed. It goes very well. Then it opens up a bit. The SP. Correct, but it's super discreet. I have the feeling that the car is loud. In fact, there are still aids, electronics, one up. Even like that, the suspension remains top. It shifts gears. It doesn't go to the limiter. Super sensitive, the same. When it slides a little bit, it's super healthy. In fact, I don't even feel like it's sliding. And on heavy braking, the same, the S&P triggers quite easily. So there, I was going downhill and on slippery ground, but honestly top, very, very good. Quite impressed, even on fat like that. At the start of the 97 plus kilometer climb, my rating went from 5.5 to 5.7, revealing some cons. A little bit of atmosphere. The car will, however, immediately increase in consumption. We will immediately blow up the scores. But so now, over 98 kilometers, let's say roughly 100 kilometers, I'm at that. It returned to 5.7, so we announced 5.7. That's it. Good. Which is relatively good, 5.7 per 100 kilometers for a car. This place like that. What I'm going to do now is reset my trip 220, and this time not exceed 80 kilometers per hour. As if I was on small country roads, and see what it also gives there on small roads like that. Here, it's 80, so I want to drive 70, 80 and go back to 90. Let's say a little bit of highway, so as not to slow down the trucks and others too much. But like this, it also gives us an idea of the consumption. Well, so I'm getting back home. Average at 5 liters, 2 over 38 kilometers. In the end, without exceeding 90 and 5.5 over 139 kilometers, having done 2 over 38 kilometers in the end, without exceeding 90 and 5.5 over 139 kilometers. Having done a little bit all types of conditions after, I believe it went up a little bit more in that sense. There's a slight headwind, but very little wind today. 5 liters over 86 miles.
I really don't find that ridiculous.
I'll keep using this car since I used it under nearly the same conditions as the 3008, which seemed to consume slightly more, which wouldn't be typical. So I'm going to keep it for a few days. I will continue to give you debriefs like this and give you a final debrief at the end on the actual consumptions to see what it gives over a longer period. So right now, I'm in automatic high beam. You can see we are in high beam on the side, and I feel like I have the matrix lights on properly. Because if I move, wait, I don't know if we're going to see it down there. What it removes from the lights on the left, I don't really know, but I had the impression that yes, if it detours, look there, hop, it goes away little by little, so now we can clearly see the lights. Surprisingly, the left light actually illuminates the right side, which I wasn't aware of previously, as I assumed the left light handled the left side. So now I'm in full auto headlight, and if I remove the auto mode, no, that's not it. No, I don't remember how I did it. I touched something like this. Ah, yes, it switched to. I don't have fog lights on. I put on fog lights. There at night, it lights up pretty well. But the matrix, I'm still unconvinced, so I'm out of luck. He didn't have much left, and now this time it's a lot of fog. As you can see, it's quite amazing. It was really beautiful this afternoon. Well then, here's the time to return this car. In conclusion, after spending a week and driving 152 miles with this car, which may not seem like a lot, here are my thoughts. But by only doing short city trips around 3 kilometers for errands, like picking up groceries and bread. The real daily life average at 6 liters. 2. So, having only done the Ile-de-France, it's pretty good. The car is very pleasant. It's well suspended, this interior. I really like this little steering wheel. You get used to it. The level 2 driving works pretty well. What I like is the steering wheel. It never reminded me to keep my hands on you. In fact, as it is a game, more the word sensitive or capacitive. He was releasing that, the 5008, as he had his lottery. It's pretty good. The interfaces are nice. There are always a few shortcuts that are not crazy. By the way, I made a video specially dedicated to this whole infotainment system. How does it work? The video has already been released on the YouTube channel. You will have all the information. But there you have it. Otherwise, it's a rather pleasant car there in electric version, so we can see that it's the same there. It is designed and like that as it was put at the auto show. There we have the hybrid version. For me, the hybrid version, it's still the ideal. 1.5 gallons on average. It's as if we were doing an average. So about 6 liters per 100. The more than 800 kilometers remaining with a full tank, it's really pleasant, so I was alone in the car. But for an initiation with 2 or 3 children, why not? This place is good. There's almost nothing left as trunk after, even if a little bit. A roof box would be welcome. But no, it's a good car to drive daily, and I like this hybrid engine in the end, which goes well in almost all situations. Except in the mountains, it will struggle a little bit because these are small engines, 1 liter, 2. It's a pity there are no more 4-cylinder engines, as they were excellent, such as those from Renault and Dacia. They continue to make 4-cylinder engines, still with the 1.6 or the new 1.8 that just came out. It's true that it could be good with this hybridization, which works pretty well, but I would have liked it to be a real full hybrid. A bit more advanced to see, maybe it will happen, since electric at the moment, well, especially with us. If, for example, in Norway 96%, Norway or Sweden 96% of the cars sold in January are electric cars, we have some minor issues. They have high taxes on thermal or hybrid vehicles, but for us, it's still manageable. I'm uncertain about the future of electric vehicles. In your view, how will it play out? Will we fully transition to electric cars? I'm excited to know this week with the 5008 was really enjoyable. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit the like button and share your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one. Bye.